Basically, it's a TikTok, and the joke is I'm Dave Moore, and I get 1 more minute to talk about video games, which because you only give me 1 more minute, and it's dumb. It's a dumb thing, but the joke is I always get cut off and never finish what I'm gonna say, and I had like a subject matter and a whole thing to go through, and I was like, I fucking got through that in a minute. TikTok has trained me to get through it.
Yeah, but that's a good or a bad thing because sometimes.
Well, yeah. Now the joke is through, and I had an exact like a whole minute of content perfectly, like in my brain, and I was like, I'm supposed to get caught off. Like I'm supposed to never finish the point. That's the joke.
But you still managed to.
But I managed to do it, and I did it like 12 times, and I'm like, for the
why
joke.
Why can't I get this wrong?
Yeah, like yeah. Why can't I not? What am I not stalling enough here to run through all these 5 things? It's very odd. It's really weird.
Oh, Jay, to answer your question, I was the one who said, sorry, I'm late, traffic jam.
Okay.
It was buffering and
Yeah. And I was just trying to see like what was said in the chat because I don't have my other headphones on to like text to speech it.
Oh my God, the group chat has gone accelerating. Okay, I'm really far behind. Sorry.
What, in the group chat?
Yeah, in our group chat. I can't.
What else is new?
I never catch up. I never catch up because I have to listen to all of it.
I feel like that happens to all of us at least 3 times out of the week.
At some point, everybody's going to be like, "What the heck is going on in the group chat?" Because it's all just like video messages, not video messages, but audio
voice messages. But still, even if it was regular messages, it'd still be like that. After a while, you're going to be looking at it like, "Wait, what's going on?" It's just the nature of group chats.
The best part is like I'll like be on my way to work and you guys won't say anything and I'll be like, "Good morning," and we're all quiet, and then I start working and then I get a little ding every 5 seconds.
Where'd you come from?
Kai sent a voice message.
Hi.
Ezrick sent a voice message.
What are you doing?
I'm doing.
Hold on, I had to bribe my child to leave the room. Hang on.
Well, have her introduce the show first.
I mean, are we live?
I never introduced the show first.
We are live.
We are.
Yeah,
we're live, y'all. Did you guys not know?
No.
I'm sorry. Oh, fuck me.
What is happening? Okay.
Sorry.
Ezrick's hosting, so we're waiting for Ezrick to introduce the show.
Oh, Ezrick's hosting next hour, actually.
Oh, he's hosting the next hour?
Yeah, we have a special dual episode going this week. We're gonna have Marie.
Oh, so we got her.
Yeah, she's just waiting in the wings.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know what's going on with this episode.
Solid. So let's kick it off. I got
Hi,
it.
Jasmine. Okay.
Welcome to our production meeting. Welcome to Inspirations Beyond Disability, the show where 4 disabled individuals talk about the topics that impact our world. Joining us today is me, your host, Jay, also known as the Baritone Blurred. Alongside me is Dave, also known as the host of the Snack Network. Tell you, Dave, how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm actually doing pretty. I drinking a 0 sugar Mountain Dew Baja Blast, and it's absolutely disgusting. And I didn't make a video about it, and so that's a shame. That's a real shame.
I mean, you can still drink like the middle of it and still be like, "Hey, look, this is what I've tasted. This is nasty." You can actually make that into a TikTok. Stefan Johnson does it all the time.
The Snack Network is prided on authenticity, and I do not fake reactions ever.
Solid.
I swear I will never do it. You may see people on the Snack Network doing it, and then they get angry messages from me.
Also joining us on the podcast today is New York's blindest, blind in New York himself, Ezrick. How are you?
I'm all right. I was doing a little bit better, a couple of days ago, but
Yeah.
Solid. And rounding off the group, the charismatic baby sister of this group from Kentucky and not Tennessee, as I always swear. It's Kai is Fly herself. Kai, how are you?
I am struggling like a motherfucker. Thank you for asking.
Who is on your mask?
Who's no one? What? No one's on the mask.
I thought something. Wait.
No, let me lean in real quick.
Are we doing all masks today? What's up? Hold on.
I can
You
get
know
a
what?
mask.
Yes.
That would be hilarious.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
Hold on.
We got to social distance everybody. Make sure we're 6 feet apart.
Let's just, let's be.
Can I just say,
let's be proper.
For those who don't know, the reason I'm wearing a mask is because right before the stream, my lips started bleeding, so I didn't want to be disgusting. If you put on a mask, I will fucking cry, because that's just the cutest thing.
Wow, there is.
What are you doing, sir?
There's a strange vehicle outside of Jay's apartment, I guess.
There's a strange vehicle outside.
Yeah,
No, that's not a vehicle. No, that's not a vehicle. That's not a vehicle. That's my daughter. That's my daughter. Hang on 1 second. You got my mask.
Jason, you can edit all this out.
Please edit all of
the shenanigans.
I'm gonna get my pop screen so I can just hide.
All right, let me grab a mask. Thankfully, I'm in
No, I can't pull baby out of actual conversation. You know what I mean?
No, not that.
No, just just
No,
cut this down to be not as insanely chaotic and nonsense.
Yeah,
This moment of solidarity where we all just got masks for Kai. I think this is a beautiful moment. No. I mean, it's not like green corn. This is an actual moment.
Yeah, that shit tastes like ass.
Our first T-shirt. Why does this green corn taste like ass?
Tastes like shit.
But yeah, sorry. My oldest daughter's on the spectrum, so she hums when she talks sometimes. So
yeah,
that's what that was.
No, it's perfectly fine.
But anywho, so trying to pull this mask together.
Yeah, I did want to clarify. I meant the conversation to be edited out, not any of the other stuff. Just like
that's cool.
Crazy.
It's cool. My daughter, I didn't know she was in the room. That's the thing that scared me because I just turn around. She's just standing there, and I'm like, I swore I locked the door. I honestly swore I locked the door.
Hey,
so this
Ezrick,
is
I like that mask.
I'm afraid to know what's on it.
Oh, it just says it's black and green, and it says Brooklyn, we go hard.
Never. So many places you could take that, but
I mean,
okay, now I'm taking it off just for
no.
It's a Jay-Z line, and you had to ruin it. You had to ruin it.
Hey, you know what? It's not as bad as Man Corner. All right, Man Corner was the
leave the man corner alone. Okay,
never.
It's not quite a man cave. It is not. I do not have the space for a man cave, but I have a man corner, and it works. It works just fine.
I bet it do.
Okay, I have a question, Jay.
That's not what I meant.
I know since we're on the topic of bashing places and statements. Did you manage to see my TikTok about there was this guy from
Don't talk about your keychain, Ezrick. Don't talk about your keychain. You need to get rid of.
Leave my dead ass keychain alone, okay?
Dead ass keychain. I forgot about
It's a New York thing, though. I understand that.
Nonetheless, I saw this thing that was like this guy from Delaware County talking about that when they walk out the Wawa, they use trash can lids as tables.
Who does that in Delaware County? Because in Philly, we don't use no trash can lid as like if you can't afford a table and you've got to use a trash can lid, you probably shouldn't be running a Wawa.
No,
really?
This is what they said. This is what they said, that when you walk out of Wawa and you're just in a rush, you sit, you plop your stuff down on top of a trash can lid, snack on from there, and then go on your merry way. Like
no.
I saw that. I was like, bro,
what were the COVID numbers in that area?
Listen.
Fucking wrecked.
You got me wanting to just leave this mask on from now on. No. I don't know who that is. That person that is they don't speak. Like there are certain videos you see from your area that you have to stitch and go, this person does not represent where I'm from, what we do, because we don't eat off no trash can lids in Philadelphia. That's some alley cat stuff right there.
Now we do have some barbecue places. Famous Dave does this, where you get the buffet for two, and they'll give you a big trash can lid full of food, but it's a clean trash can lid, and it's part of the joke. Like, you know,
Yeah, it's a tray shaped like a trash can lid, isn't it?
That's exactly it. It's a tray. It's not.
It's a tray, not an actual dedicated trash can
lid
for a real trash
can
underneath.
Oh, bro, that like irked my soul when I saw that. I was like, I have to do something, and I did something with it, and I was like,
the entire pandemic that we have lived through in the last year and a half, almost 2 years now at this point, like, has set my perspective really weird on like what's sanitary and what's not. Like, normally if I was walking down the street and I needed to sit my drink down on like a trash can lid, like for a moment, like I wouldn't have thought about it. You know, it's been like, set it down, do whatever, you know, fix whatever, pick it back up and drink out of it. No big deal. Not thinking about it. Now I do shit like that. And I'm like, what have I done? I just set that down on a thing that I can never touch. And then I'll be like, well, just throw it away. And that's how I move on. Like, I don't know.
What's funny? I'm like on the subway now, like in the past, you don't really think about like what you do. Now I'm like, I don't want to touch this. I don't want to touch that. Oh, that fell on the floor. I'm not touching that ever again.
Yep. Yeah, no, it fell on the bus floor. Like it's gone. It
gone.
Might as well.
It's done. It's over.
Really, the second it touches the SEPTA seat, I'm done with it. It's a distant memory because these places. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, speaking of SEPTA, so I had my wallet stolen the other day.
Ooh.
And they took the $52 that I had in cash, and they took my Metro card.
Wow, big money, $52, more than I got in my wallet.
Big money. And then they managed to drop off the wallet at the hospital clinic that I go to. Like, I guess they found one of my like clinic cards in there, and they dropped off the wallet there. But they managed to leave a SEPTA key inside the wallet, as well as a few of my other IDs. But they took my Metro card.
And the $52? Or did they actually leave it? Yeah. First off, that is some weird levels of humanitarianism. Like, that's the cost of them returning your wallet to you.
Exactly.
Is $52 in your Metro card. Yeah. I've seen that. I've seen that.
I don't carry cash for that reason, because I've lost a wallet with cash in it and never gotten it back. And getting the entire contents of your wallet is a lot harder than just the cash that's in it, to be honest. Yeah. You're lucky to have gotten it back at all. But I never keep more than $50 in my wallet ever at any time, because sure, cash is valuable, it's useful, like in an emergency, in a pinch. It's always good. Cash always works. But I found that it's more likely that I lose my wallet and I lose the cash than I ever need that cash for an emergency. So I don't know. That's the transition I've made in my life, is to not carry anything valuable in my wallet.
But see, for me,
Go ahead.
For me, it's like I don't carry cash, period. Mainly because when you try to go into a store, like I've had this incident happen to me before where I know I've handed someone like a $20 bill when I'm trying to make a payment for something, and they'd be like, "Oh no, you've only handed me a 10," and they're like, "No, I've handed you a 20," and they're like, "No, you only handed me a 10," and like you can't really see to like contradict them, but they'll still insist because they're trying to get over on you anyway. From now on, that's why I only use like a debit card or a credit card.
No, you know what I do at those moments? That's when I go, all right, hold on, hand me that back real quick. Let me see that real quick.
Yeah.
Take that money back. Pull out my phone. Pull out Seeing AI. Put it on speaker so that they can hear it. And be like, how much you said this was? A 10 or a 20? When it reached, the amount that I said it was, I'm sorry, thank you, goodbye.
Yeah, but they also could just hand you back a 10. I'm not trying to give anybody advantages to take advantage of us, but they
it's the truth.
Yeah, and like I find paying at payment terminals. Thank you. Quite difficult in general. I find it incredibly frustrating, especially when they want to ask you a stupid fucking question on the pin pad.
Oh yeah.
And they're like, do you want to donate to charity? Here's some really shady charity, and we're going to take your money and make it look like it's coming from this company that's not you, and you get to donate nothing to a charity you care about.
Yeah.
But that's a whole nother complaint. But that question comes up, and then you can't do anything. And it's like, do you want to use debit or credit? And sometimes the buttons are different colors, so you have to read the tiny little text. It's a pain in the ass. And I think I replied to this actually as a TikTok conversation at one point, but I have completely transitioned to using Apple Pay in my wallet and my watch, because if I can tap my watch on it, I know it. I get a notification later of how much it was.
Yep.
I didn't have to interact with that machine very much at all. And most of the time when you wave your arm over it and you don't put it in the right place, because I do that all the time too, they'll be like, oh, it's right over here.
Yeah. The over there thing is a pain in the butt. But the insistence, once you tell somebody you can't see that something's over there, is what makes it worse. But I didn't know everybody, like my brain, when it comes to like Apple Pay, Google Pay, all those kind of things, my brain is still stuck in like 2013, 14, like when a lot of these things were still in their infancy. My fear is always
they weren't very good.
They weren't very good, and they weren't accepted everywhere. So like in my brain, I'm always going, I don't know if that thing is even accepted here. And I don't want to like be the day where I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to forget my wallet at home, and then like go to a store with a bunch of stuff and then try to pay for it. And they're like, I'm sorry, sir, we don't accept that. And then all of a sudden you're like, SOL.
That's me right now.
That's why I always have my wallet. But I try to not ever have to need to pull it out.
Yeah.
Same.
And that's why I use Amazon. Never mind. I was gonna say,
no, we don't support Amazon.
We don't support CEO entrepreneur born in
No.
1964.
No. I don't know, but I like.
I'm not gonna pretend like I don't buy shit on Amazon, because that's a lie. But like, I'm not actively about to be like, this is brought to you in part by Whole Foods. Like, no way.
You know, I forgot he owned Whole Foods too. I completely forgot that.
All of it. He owns everything.
Yo, him and Elon Musk can go somewhere. I'm still mad that they screwed me with Dogecoin.
Dogecoin?
Dogecoin?
Yes, I got screwed with Dogecoin.
What is Dogecoin?
It's shit. That's what it is.
We don't have time to explain cryptocurrency on Inspirations Beyond Disabilities, a show all about those of us and individuals with disabilities. I'm Dave Moore.
Wait, is it not called Inspirations Beyond Cryptocurrency?
No, it is
I'm in the wrong class. Let me get the fuck
Man. Kai, you mentioned the other day that you wanted to talk about some like culture and how it like growing up, I guess our experiences is growing up in different households with like disabilities.
Yeah. So basically, I will try to keep this short-winded, but
we got a whole hour. Kai, go for it.
Yeah, I'll talk for the entire hour, and you guys are just gonna sit here and fucking listen.
All right, let's go.
So, it came to me in a dream the other night. That sounds like a lie, but it's true. But basically, I was thinking about how we all come from different, backgrounds and whatnot, and how I personally grew up in a mixed family, so my parents kind of handled my situation differently, and I had to kind of navigate somewhere in the middle and try to figure my shit out. And I mentioned that when I talk about culture, it's not just like race or whatever. It's also, are you Northern or Southern? Are you Eastern or Western? Are you black or white or Latino? Are you fucking old-fashioned, conservative, liberal? Like, what was your family like? How did they handle your disability? My glasses are fogging up. I hate my life. But yeah, I just, because we're a very diverse cast, and I think that's really rad, and I just wanted to get to know fucking glasses. Okay.
I felt that. I felt the glasses. I felt the glasses.
Take them off. They don't help us anyway.
The sad reality in that is, oh my god. The reality hurt.
My glasses that are probably a decade old actually broke this week. And I don't have any vision insurance of any kind. So, too bad, I guess.
That sounds like
Too
fun.
bad.
I'm like it's a bummer. I've been wearing them to protect my eyes. I've kind of mentioned that on the show, I think. And the little tiny itty bitty screw that you need a special fancy screwdriver to pop the lenses back in, and the frame, the whole thing came apart. And I'm like, well, I mean, these held up for quite a long time, but I don't have the coverage to go buy new glasses. So
yes,
Sorry, man.
yeah.
I can, I gotta find some like designer like fake glasses that are like, because I'm wearing them to protect my eyes. I don't need the prescription. It doesn't help me.
Walmart.
Yeah, Walmart. Somebody send me some cool fake glasses. Like I'm talking to you, Kai, or like Shy, one of you two, Brittany maybe. Like hook me up. What would look cool?
I don't know anything about what looks cool. First of all, if we can just get that out of the way right now.
I mean, we saw you in a Powerpuff Girls jacket this morning, so
Hell
that's
yeah. Hell yeah.
I trust all your fashion decisions, Kai.
Buttercup
moving
is my
forward.
girl. Hell yeah. See, that's what's up. We need a fashionista over here.
We have
I
one.
better not say that. Brittany's gonna kick my
Yes.
ass. She's gonna beat my ass.
Hey.
Oh my god.
So,
I've got-
Kai, you were talking about your
Culture.
upbringing.
Yeah.
You-
So my mother is biracial, and my stepfather at the time was a white guy. So she was very much, I don't know how to really describe it. She was very much pick yourself up, dust yourself off. You don't get to pity yourself, which is great to an extent until I couldn't even like be sad about the fact that I'm 16 and won't ever be able to drive like all my friends. Like I feel like I deserved that moment to kind of frown, and she wouldn't let me frown.
Mhm.
And then my stepfather, he didn't really like me very much, so he didn't really, but whenever he would talk about me, he would be very like, oh, she's disabled. My daughter, she does, he just very pitiful. And my mom was very, she'll be all right. Don't coddle her, which I do appreciate. And I think a lot of that might have to do with the fact that not only was I disabled, I was brown and I was a woman. I'm not trying to get all like identity politics or whatever, but it does matter. And so I think that because I already had certain disadvantages growing up in a predominantly white school, I wasn't trying to be like I don't know how to explain it. It's hard. They handled it differently. And so I just wanted to know how you guys' families handled your shit. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. Like my family, I say it all kind of changed in different stages of my life. Like when I was younger, it was kind of like, oh man, like he's got this sucks. And like in Black families, I know, especially with like older folks, so like grandparents and great grandparents, you don't really have a condition. You just, like I was joking with Jason, like every time before the show, like every time in a Black family you're sick, they just tell you to drink some Sprite and lay down. And like that's usually like the cure all for everything.
That's
so
not
like
the cure all for everything.
It really isn't. It really isn't. Like
No, you.
I have tried that with the flu, and I'm telling you, all of that 2 liter of Sprite came up. But
we use Gatorade in my household.
Okay, so the drink changes. Jason said in Greek families they use Windex. So I'm just like, all right. So everybody has like a little something that they use. But like in older Black families, like it's not that you like whatever doctors say, like the oldest person in your family like supersedes the opinion of the doctor. So it's just like if the doctor's like, yeah, he can't see that. The oldest person in the family will be like, no. He just needs to put on like my pair of glasses. And like my pair of glasses will be like what fixes everything. So it's just like you get that for a little bit. And then as I got older, being Black man kind of superseded condition where like everyone's like, we don't really want to empathize with what you're going through. We don't really want to talk about how this is impacting you. Kind of suck it the hell up and move on. Like just Sorry, my headphones are doing something stupid. But it's like, you have to just deal with it. You can't feel bad. You shouldn't expect anybody else to feel bad for you. This is your life. Just deal with it. And that's just kind of like my upbringing with it. Like there's a lot of just suck it up and deal with it because you already have it hard as is. This just means you have it harder and just deal with it.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Hold on. I'm trying to get. So I wish Jaws would stop talking. There we go. Thank you. I didn't know how to get that to stop. I'm learning Jaws as we go along. So if I like roll over a cord, things unplug and then replug, and then Jaws talks for like 45 minutes. But yeah, there's a lot of like just kind of deal with it in Black culture. And I think Ezrick, you may relate a bit because I think Black and Hispanic culture are kind of similar in that sense, where it's just like,
damn, erase me. Okay. Just kidding.
Cut. I'm still trying to. You said you are. I think you said you're multiracial, right? I never know which ones though. Like
no,
I
okay.
still haven't figured that out.
Time. Yeah, no. Well, I mentioned black and white more because I wasn't actually raised by anyone who was Hispanic, so I don't know fuck all about Hispanic culture. But I just make jokes to fuck with you. Sorry.
So Ezrick, you saying that yours is similar?
Yeah, I wouldn't lie. Like in the beginning, when I was younger, like my grandmother would, in fact, I don't want to say coddle me, but like something to that extent. But then as I got older, everybody's like, well, you got to do what you got to do. So get fucking to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like where there's a will, there's a way. You know, you're going to find it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
you may be blind, but you can find your way.
I think there's a transition point in where, like, my family growing up treated my disability more severely the younger I was, and the constant battle of proving I could do things on my own is what had to happen to prove that I could do those things on my own, because without just doing them myself, they were things that to my mother it seemed maybe unattainable. Like, and I don't mean this to be anything against my mom. And my dad probably just was like, he can do anything he wants to do. And I think that's because I am my dad. Like, I have 100% turned into my dad. And I think, and I always go back to the ski club example, which was, I went and I'm going to join ski club because the disabilities teacher who teaches the English disabilities class is in charge of it. I'm going. Like, I'm going to do it. She thinks I can do it. I'm going to do it. And my mom was like, you cannot do it. You're going to get hurt. It's not safe. It's not something you should do. And I had to fight for like 2 years to get allowed to go. And then I went and did it. And I was, top of the class basically because I had an independent and private teacher, because I could do it. And I knew I could do what I could do.
You can do it.
But even
I used to say that all the time.
But even like moving out and getting an apartment and getting a job and all those things were just things I had to do that as a kid maybe just seemed like they will just get by and we'll figure it out as we go. And
so do you feel like your family was more like supportive throughout your journey, or do you feel like they were kind of like overprotective?
I think they were trying to be overprotective for years. And then I think as I became an adult and they realized that I had to function on my own, there might have been a point where I said, Mom, you can't do this forever.
Yeah.
Like, you're not no, I hate saying it, but like, you're not going to be here forever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I have to be able to do everything on my own. And I think I probably said that at some point. And I think that was the point where they're like, okay, good luck.
So I get that, because I know from when I was younger, like my mom was protective like that before like my teenage years. Like I remember I wanted to play football so bad because I've always been like football size. Like if you see me in person, like, yeah, this dude's fat enough to be like somebody's lineman or something. But like my mom was just terrified to let me do anything.
All right,
and because
so we gotta go shoot guns, drive go-karts, and then play blind football. Got it.
Yeah, but listen, if we can get 22 people who are interested in playing blind football, I am down. That is going to be the funniest looking game ever, but absolutely I am down.
All we got to do is change the rules a bit and we'll play with a beeper ball instead. Like, we can just, change the rules of like how the ball hits the ground. Like
ground. I'm worried about the ball hitting somebody in the face.
I mean, we've all gotten hit in the face with a ball. Come on, like every kind of ball ever.
Really? Every kind.
Yes, every single kind, Kai. Every single kind of
all right.
sports ball.
Hey, anything's a sports ball.
All right.
But the point, like, there was a constant battle of that. Is that safe for you to do growing up? And I don't know what made that change, and maybe it's just me deciding that it changed. Right? Go ahead.
I think when it comes to like making those changes, it has to be you to make those changes, because if you leave it in the hands, especially of someone who's like protecting in that way, like of course they have the best intentions, right? They always have the best intentions, but like sometimes those good intentions can be the very thing that cripples your life as an adult.
Yeah, because I probably could have made the decision to stay home and just, I don't know, let people continue to take care of me. I guess I probably could have made that decision.
Yeah.
And they always did. And they always did a great job of taking care of me. But I don't know. I think there's this, and this is maybe just applying to all kids and stuff, is like, you got to go out and make mistakes. You got to screw up. Like, I don't know. And I've made my own share of horrible decisions and mistakes that are not just related to my disability and not, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely. You know, this transitions to a lovely point that I think is a problem in any disabled community. And okay, I'm sorry, Kai. I love the solidarity, but I cannot do this any longer. This is
fair.
No, sorry.
He thinks masks are evil.
Yeah, right. Nancy masks.
They're just uncomfortable and they're unnecessary.
For a Zoom call, yes, they are unnecessary.
No, that's the point I'm trying to make. In this instant, it's
unnecessary.
Oh my God, Kai, stop it.
Quote him on that. The more you know.
Shut up. So the point that I was trying to make is, I'm not sure if, I know as far as us here, we didn't get this far into this, point, but those parents that shelter their children because of their disabilities, these children that don't even get to like go out and live their own lives because their parents are afraid of, the outside world and how they would interact with them and their disability. When, yes, that's a fear, but we need to own it and face it and go, okay, well, that's my child. I have to be the one to give them the tools so that they can face this without a problem.
You also have to be willing to take risks and be brave, right? Like if anything,
that's where it goes back to the point of you saying, you have to make mistakes in life. You have to learn from those mistakes. I'm sorry I cut you off, but yeah.
No, but my job, and maybe Jay should probably speak to this, but like your job as a parent is to protect your kids, but only to some extent, right? Like I've gone out and made mistakes and going and getting, literally lost because of like not being able to see where I am and being in a situation where I probably shouldn't have gotten lost in that way, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because I was protective and sheltered before that point, I felt the need to prove myself in that moment of fear instead of, taking the opportunity to like call my mom and say, I need help, right? Because I was so determined at some point to prove I didn't need any help that I didn't take the help I needed, and that's a weird level of it. Like,
I hear what you're saying, but being on both sides, like being a child that was disabled and having a child with a disability, you are absolutely frightened for your kid. Like I definitely get it. Like you deal with a world of people. Like think about some of the people you not like encounter on purpose, but like just are on a day-to-day basis, like how they treat, how you've been treated as somebody with a disability, how you've seen other people be treated with a disability, some of the horror stories you hear. The news doesn't help that. TV doesn't help that. Like there's so many things that like absolutely terrifies you as an adult with your kid, because nowadays, like, you always think like, okay, we had it bad, but like every subsequent generation seems to get it worse. But the reality is like, it's always been this bad. People have always had like these type of intentions, and you always just want to protect your kid as much as possible. The fear is always, well, what happens if my kid doesn't come home? What happens if something terrible just happens to my kid altogether? Like if my child just like dies or something like that. Like that's always running through your mind. So you always want to be protective. You have to find that fine line between I'm protecting my kid and I'm coddling my kid. And sometimes it's hard to find that line.
And that line has to be hard. I mean, you think about, and I go back to this a lot because I've made a ton of mistakes in my life and spent years doing things I shouldn't have been doing and being an idiot. And like part of me thinks, when I have kids, if I have kids someday, right, it's like I don't want them to make those mistakes because I don't want them to have to go through it. But at the same time, like those mistakes and those decisions and everything I've gone through have made me who I am.
Yeah.
And am I happy with who I am today? And the answer is yes.
Yeah.
Right? Like at its core. So like, I don't know, that line between you have to make mistakes to become who you are, and you also need to protect people so they don't make the same mistakes.
Right. It's a thin line to find.
It's a very thin line. And it even applies to just like your friendships and your relationships with people you care about.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, I feel you on that. Like it's a hard line to find. Like it's a very thin line to find. I want to throw it to Kai real quick. Kai, have you ever made a mistake? Have you ever done something that you felt like you needed to do, but knew it would like terrify the crap out of like your parents?
That's a great question. One time,
Kai's mom.
Yeah, right.
Turn this off. Don't listen to this.
No, don't listen. Well, okay, so this could go dark or this could go funny. I'm gonna go funny. Yeah, we're gonna go funny.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. So one time, my stepdad was like, "Hey, you want to ride this like riding lawnmower?" And I was like, "Fuck yeah, I do." And my mom was like, "Don't let her ride that fucking lawnmower," which is crazy because usually it's like the other way around. My mom's like, "You can do it, fucking." If you run into a tree, you run into a fucking tree. Like you'll learn, which is cool. But whatever. So I get on this lawnmower, and what he didn't tell me is that the brake was like wonky. So I'm over here like, oh my God, it won't stop. And I'm riding around the yard and I'm freaking out because I'm like, it won't fucking stop. So I did purposefully. Yes, I said, don't fucking act like, no, I purposefully ran into like a pole or something to get it to stop because I was so freaked out. And then he did that thing he does where he was like, I shouldn't have let you do it because I knew you weren't going to see that pole. Bitch, you didn't tell me that the brakes were wonky. And I'm still mad about it to this
like
day.
The pole wasn't the issue here.
Right. You do realize I aimed for the pole because I was trying to stop.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And that's the thing that like terrifies a parent, because you're always like every worst nightmare scenario you can think of is running through your mind all at once with like your kids. So the second they like step into something, like I'm terrified for my daughter to go to school because she's largely nonverbal, as you guys heard. Like she hums and things. So it's just like I'm terrified someone's going to try to like beat her up, or somebody's going to like try to do something to her because she can't talk. Like she doesn't really talk all that much. And it's just like I have to remember there's a fine line to straddle when it's like you have to let her do this, you have to let her step into her own. And like if a person touches her, like I'm coming up there with my own gun and I'm just going to just, go crazy. Like that. There's that thin line. So it's like, as a person with a disability, I totally understand, like you have to let them make a mistake, but sometimes that like parenting side of you just can't let that stuff go. So yeah. But no, that wasn't. I was trying to think like was the time I tried to like tie myself to a chair in second grade. Was that like the same thing, or like it totally wasn't. That was just me being stupid. Like I wanted to prove myself. I wanted to prove myself as like I was Superman, so I tied myself to a chair in like second grade with like a new coat and thought I was going to break out like Superman, and like stayed tied to the chair and just had the whole class laugh at me. That wasn't a
That's
thing.
so
That was just
funny.
dumb. That was just dumb. But I mean, it was what it was. It was what it was.
It was what it was.
Yep.
But yeah. So I'm trying to figure out, like, so in that instance, do you feel like your culture, like, if you could change something about like how you were brought up, if you could change one thing about like how you were brought up with your disability, because I'm pretty sure we all have. Go.
Can I get rid of my disability? No, I'm just kidding.
Like, if you could change one thing, yeah, if we could just get rid of
Can I have
that.
more wishes?
No, that conversation has come up on TikTok before, and I wouldn't change it at all.
You really?
Look, and this is the conversation of, if I could be fully sighted tomorrow, would I take that opportunity? The answer is yes. Would I retroactively change?
Retcon, got it.
Would I retroactively change my disability to not have been blind my entire life? And the answer is no.
No.
Mine actually, I feel like mine helped me be who I am.
Right.
Like,
that's why it's
I'd be a
so
reckless
crucial.
kid, I'm telling you.
Yeah. No, I would not be the same person if I had not been who I am. And I don't know, maybe that goes back to my dad's favorite thing to say to me when I was like, "You guys are so mean, I hate you." It was like, "You want to roll the dice again, buddy?" Like, that's pretty much what my dad would say every time. And eventually that sinks into me, like, oh, that's right. Like, people do have really bad parents. Like I shouldn't have a reason to be this mad at you because you were right, I was wrong, kind of thing, right?
I mean, that's I don't think I would change having RP from the start. I would change the fact that I want the version that doesn't, like, you have what you have from the jump, because like slowly losing things over time sucks. But like, I would love to have the version that's like, okay, what you started out with when you were like born, like, it may not be the best, but this is what you will have your entire life. I think I could live with that.
Jay, save that discussion for the next hour.
Got it. I keep forgetting because like there's certain things I want to say and I'm like, we do have a different hour coming up. I can't say that now, but like I don't think I would change that though. I honestly don't think I would change that, because
so if you could change one thing about your childhood, Jay, what would you change here?
If I could change one thing about my childhood, I think I would want the total freedom from the time I was young to make mistakes, because like I was coddled until I started doing things silently that, well, my mom doesn't watch this. I like silently that my mom's to this day still doesn't know about.
No, and that's part of it is you come to this point where you're so sheltered and so coddled and protected that instead of what bad kids do, which is lash out and do things and get caught and, like, I don't know, like when they're upset, like, you have this need to keep it secret.
Yeah.
Like for you to learn your lessons and do your own things, you need to hide them.
Yeah.
And
I do that a lot.
And that's not really a good way to learn yet. Like, if you didn't do those things, would you be to the point where you are now? And the answer is no. So like, there's that other fine line of like, what?
And the question kind of comes, if you did those things with guidance, would you be further than you are now?
Right. And I think the answer is yes. But if you're protected so much to the point where you can't rely on the people who are supposed to protect you for correct guidance, because their guidance is always don't do it at all.
Yeah. But
does that carry over into your current life now, being private and learning your lessons as a disabled person? Do you find yourself privately trying to learn lessons to this day?
Heck yeah. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Oh, that's exactly it. We talked about this before, is when we try to do something, we need to do it alone. If you tell me to go put something together, I need to put it together alone, because I'm going to be angry and upset about it the whole time. Right? We've kind of talked about this, and that's the habit, and that's the thing it's created, is I have to do this, and I have to do it on my own. Because otherwise I will never learn. Because that's what I've been taught and believe. I will learn it only that way.
With me, mine's more tends. That was not a sentence. With me, mine's tends more to be about my anxiety, because if I'm trying to learn how to do something and I have somebody like always screaming over my shoulder, "You're doing it wrong. You need to do this over. Why don't you just let me help you?" Like, it kicks my anxiety into like overdrive, and it's just like, oh my God, what am I missing? What am I missing? Like, is this about to break? Like, am I about to be out of all of my money, or like, is this about to explode? So like for me, I need to learn, even if I do it wrong. Like if I go like ta-da and the whole thing like collapses, then it's like, okay, well then clearly I've done something wrong and I can start over again. But at least I've learned that lesson. I hate when people try to like snatch something from you and be like, here, let me just do it for you.
And that's the problem. It's there's a constant battle we're fighting between people who believe we can't do anything at all.
Yeah.
And us having to prove that we can do things, which is a really weird thing because we have to prove to ourselves.
Yeah.
Right. I remember, and I'm going to go back to the skiing example because I apparently love it so freaking much that I have to talk about it all the time. I was in the kind of the end of my skiing time, and I was out skiing alone at dark, like as the sun was coming down. So it was dark, and it's pretty much the end of the night, and I decided I'm going to go down one more hill and go across the middle and cut back to the lodge and then get back on the bus. Right now, in the middle of that hill, there are a bunch of moguls. You know what moguls are from watching the Winter Olympics, where they're like the big bumps that you go up and down and go whoop, 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 kind of thing. Now, I wasn't trained for that at all, not at all. But I decided to cut right across the mountain because I didn't see them. I hit them. I hit the first one. I handled it because I was starting to learn these things. I hit the second one, handled it. Hit the third one, launched straight up, went up, and landed back on my head. Slammed the back of my head on the one behind me. And I'm laying underneath the lift, and I'm looking up, and like this dude goes, "Oh, fuck, dude, are you okay?" And I'm like, no, I hit my head really hard on a really hard piece of snow. Like, no, I'm not okay. And I'm by myself. And I had been told over and over and repeatedly that I should never do that. And it had felt like I had fucked up.
Yeah.
Like I had not only like gotten hurt, but I also got hurt because I was told not to do this. And I did it anyway. And go ahead, Jay.
No, go ahead.
And I what I could have done at that point is said, I was wrong. I can't do this. I should never have done this. And my mom was right the whole time. And instead, I went on the New York trip because I was already done. I was already signed up to go. And it was a couple weeks later. And we get to a hill, and New York skiing conditions are a lot harder and more rigorous. And I was a good skier. And I'm with my dad and my best friend, Jeff, and we go down a hill that Jeff is in no way qualified to go down. My dad hasn't skied in a decade, and we're going down this hill, and it's way too steep and way too fast and way too icy, and I'm ahead, I'm leading, and I get to the bottom, and there's a giant orange line, which means there's a jump at the bottom of this crazy steep hill with too much ice on it that no one is qualified for, and I scream jump, and I go off the thing, land it, hit the ground, and then I fall because I wasn't ready, but I had landed it and knew what I was going to do, right? And I turn around and I watch my dad hit it and do 4 somersaults, and he's an older guy, obviously, than me, in the snow, and I watch my other friend beef it onto his ankle, and he had to go get foot surgery, and my dad's laying there with the wind knocked out of him. And what I had to realize at that moment was everybody can make the same mistake.
Yeah.
And I was prepared, and I knew what I was doing, and I did my best, and I am not wrong, and I should not give up because I made a mistake. Right? Now, my dad and my friend Jeff have never skied again since that point ever, but clearly they took the lesson the other way. But that has stuck with me is you will make mistakes. You will fall. You will get hurt. Sometimes we take it a little harder than others. True. And yet you have to bounce back up and recover. despite people's advice, they're not always right. You only you know what you can and cannot do.
Only you can prevent forest fires.
I was thinking that, but I wasn't going to say it. But
Why not?
but let me ask this question. So how much of that becomes because when people tell us we can't do something, we try it anyway, right? Because for so long we've always been told that we can't do something. How much of that is us just wanting to know, and how much of that is just screw you, I'm going to do it anyway? Like, how much of it should we actually listen to, if any, and how much of it is just like, just low-key ableism, do you feel?
You should never do anything only because someone told you not to do it.
But do you feel like that may be the case sometimes? Like, I'm only in certain things, not in everything, obviously, but in certain things. Do you feel like it's only one of those, I'm only doing it because they told me not to do it?
Yeah.
Like, you can't set your house on fire. You want to see me try? And then watch it basically happen.
Yeah. No, I think we've all probably made those mistakes.
Kai, do you ever feel like you've done that?
Not really. I don't, I'm sorry. I don't.
Ezrick.
Yeah, right.
I'll plead the fifth.
Okay.
That means he's done something.
Yep.
I'll plead the fifth.
So how many houses have you set on fire, Ezrick?
I don't know what you're talking about, sir. Officer, what? Officer, I don't know what you're talking about. I need my lawyer.
Again, never mind.
I need my lawyer.
Objection, Your Honor. Speculation.
I think growing up, I was raised in a way where I was given both sides of that coin, which is my mom did her absolute best to protect me. And honestly, looking back at it, 95% of the time, she was probably right. Mm-hmm. But my dad strongly believed I could do anything I wanted to do. And he put that in my head too, right? And I don't know, maybe it's because my dad constantly would, tell me his mistakes and be open and honest about it, to realize that everybody makes mistakes.
Everybody has those days.
And everybody has to learn from them. And I don't know what that says about me as a person, but like, I believe anybody can do whatever they want to do because of the way I was raised.
I get it. I get it.
Oh, there's my lawyer.
Easy, Elise. Anyway.
The funny thing is, he got the name wrong. Too.
Ellie, right?
There you go.
I don't know. I think what's important, just to wrap up on some of that stuff, being a place where your children can make mistakes while protecting them from the outside is the big thing, Like, let them fall and cry to learn that the stove's hot, maybe, and don't ever let anybody manipulate you, know what you want to do, and then listen to other people. But nobody knows your entire life like you do. They don't know when you went right, when you should have gone left. Only you do, And Dave made me cry. Oh, Dave, you learned some major lessons really early. I love that. We got about 10 minutes out. That's what I came in to say hi about.
I was looking at I kept looking at the chat to see if you were saying like we were 10 minutes out.
Nope,
I think that's something really, really important to take away from this, Jason, which is only you know you.
Right.
And you gotta remember that. No matter what. Like, people will assume lots of things about people, right? But you gotta dig deep into yourself sometimes. You gotta look at why you make the decisions you do. Hi, landline. We're calling about your car's extended warranty.
You can't answer that because you're disabled.
Do you have time to talk about the Lord? Don't run away from the Lord.
Oh, God.
Set because I was literally just gonna say, do you have time to talk about our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ? And you fucking
No
how
rest
dare
from the
you,
Lord.
Jason? How dare you?
Yeah, well,
We
you
got
got
beef
me
now.
on the Smokey reference. You know what I mean? Only
You know,
you
all
can
right.
prevent forest fires.
I guess we're even.
if you're listening to this though, like really think about this. How many life decisions have you made, right, as an individual that only you're aware of, and you're only the one aware of the consequences?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, plenty.
Right? Sure.
Plenty.
Plenty.
There's those
Part of human
decisions.
nature.
Those decisions, and sure, maybe other people were involved, but think about it. Like if you did something with or to another person, and you're pretty sure they may have told someone, right?
Yeah.
They might have told their therapist if you're an awful human being. But like you might be the only two people in that scenario who know exactly what happened at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And also remember that each individual person has their own perspective on the entire situation. Right?
Yeah.
And so like, but only you know that. And so when you have a gut reaction to something or an immediate feeling or a rush of this, where does that come from? Right? When you're told you can't do something, you know, why do you immediately jump to I can? It's how many times were you told you can't do it and you proved to yourself that you can?
Yeah. But does that ultimately become dangerous? Like
Right.
that's always the concern I have. Like I know I've done some things that were like, watch me, and then I like basically fell on my butt and like had some trauma from it. Like some actual like trauma from it. So it's just
I was riding my bike once. I was trying to impress a girl. This is a thing I did as a teenager.
Oh
right?
God, yes, I've done.
And you're going down the road and some girl you like's like, hey Dave, and you're like, hey girl, and then you're like, I'm gonna skid on my brakes real fast and like turn around and be like, hey, and so you come swinging up at full speed, you slam the brakes. You've done this a bunch of times as a child. You think you're going to make like a cool skid and you're going to go woo, but instead you go whoop, and then you flip straight over the handlebars.
Oh, I've done that.
Right over like right in front of her. That girl never talked to you ever again. You got all scraped up, and you have to take that lesson and go, why did I do that? Like, you know, like what was the purpose? I mean, this is like 12-year-old me. Let's get some perspective. I'm an old man now, but like I'll remember that forever. Don't do anything. Don't do something just to prove. I don't know. Like you got to think about your decisions. You have to. I think a lot of people struggle with this rational thinking before you do things, thinking before you say things, thinking about why your immediate reactions, why your brain says this to you, why that. Like, have I ever tried to impress a girl on a bike ever again? No.
We spend our lives with challenges. I mean, getting up in the morning and opening my eyes is a challenge. So everything is a challenge. But for me, it's always, can I? Of course. Should I? No. You know? Like I take that extra step, I guess. I thought other people did that too. If they don't, they should.
I don't think that's something you learn until you get older, though. Because like when you're, especially when you're like a teenager or like a young adult, like can I and should I doesn't always like play into the factor. It's always can I? Therefore, I'm going to. Right? It's always like, having the ability to do something doesn't mean you should do it. But as a teenager, having the ability to do something means that's all you do. And until you can prove to me why I can't, then I'm going to. And sometimes proving why you can't is, like Dave said, flipping over the handlebars, right? Like that's your in retrospect. Like remember, hindsight is what? What did they say? Hindsight is 20/20. But you don't really like. That's as a kid. That's all you have when it's like learning is like hindsight. Like, man, that sucked. Like, I don't want to flip over the bars again and then like have the bike go over me. Like I had that.
Right. That's the easy example. I flipped over the handlebars. I hit the mogul with the back of my head. You know, those are the easy lessons we learn, but we're not talking about like, the decisions of the relationships you make, the conversations you have, the the weight of emotional things that happen to you, like we're not even talking about those kinds of lessons here.
Yeah.
And yet, like those are the ones that you need to look at. And so being raised this way, my dad had 2 lessons, really, was you can do anything you want. Like you can do anything, I believe in you, and don't do anything stupid. That was my dad's core lesson. And he started saying that after I locked my friend in a couch, but that's a whole nother story for another day.
Okay, we have to discuss that later.
Depending on how severe this is, or how much this could possibly be a crime, we need to talk about that one off air.
He's still my best friend, and he will remain for the rest of eternity. But
Until you lock him in another couch.
that moment,
couch. Okay,
it sealed our friendship forever. But like from that point forward, my dad was able to say, "Don't do anything stupid." You know, like think about what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what that is as a core lesson, but it is something that's stuck with me. Is don't do anything my dad wouldn't do. Don't be stupid.
Yeah. But
you have to take risks. You have to do things on your own. I don't know. There's a fine line, and it's a fun one.
So is there a thing considered as reasonable risk?
Sure. We could put a label on it. Let's put a label on it.
Like
reasonable risk.
Reasonable risk.
So I have a reasonable risk. What's the reasonable risk of us running out the clock and going over? The silence is golden.
Sorry, it took me that long to unmute myself. Thank you for listening to Inspirations Beyond Disabilities. I was here with Jay, Ezrick, Dave, and Kai. Kai has to go to work pretty soon, and Maria will be here shortly. So thank you for listening.
I was gonna wrap it up, but I guess I don't have to. That's good.
You can. Doesn't matter. I was in the bathroom. I came back and heard Ezrick. I don't know what was going on before that.
So we were talking mad shit about you.
If you're tuned into us live on Mondays on the Inspirations Beyond Disabilities podcast, it's available at Inspirations Beyond Disabilities podcast, the YouTube channel. It's not. I don't think it has podcasts in it. No. If you're watching us live and you want to get, because I think that's the only time you'll have to or you're watching us on the YouTube archive at 7:30 p.m. today on Friday. It's Friday. I said Monday. It's Friday. We are going live on the Snack Network YouTube channel to try all the Bang alcoholic seltzers.
Nice.
So that's a thing.
So if you want to watch me get drunk at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on the Snack Network, you can do that. That's fun.
Nice.
And then come ask him questions.
You know what? Just to see a drunk Dave.
Let's
go.
Right?
Let's go. I'm there.
You can connect. You can connect on the Inspirations Beyond Disabilities YouTube channel. Dave's page is right there on our front page.
And it goes both ways. I added. I
bet it does.
Jason, I spent literally 2 hours today trying to figure out how to add featured channels to the channel.
Oh, nice.
And I added the Inspirations Beyond Disabilities channel because you had to make like a featured list YouTube.
Yeah.
It's garbage. It's absolute garbage. It makes no sense, but it added it to my channels page, so it's on the. Both channels are there, along with a couple of my other friends who do tasting videos and other video game things are available on the Snack Network featured channel.
There's a question directed at you in the chat. Would you like to take it?
Is it a good question?
I think it's a great question.
Okay, great. I'll take it.
I'm going to say Jasmine wants to know a list of the actual balls you have taken to the face.
Basketballs, tennis balls,
all kinds of balls. Yeah,
kick
we want
balls.
to know yeah, these aren't the balls we're interested in, Dave. You know, we want to know if you had Ellie over earlier.
Okay, no, that just got weird and uncomfortable because she's like 9. So like, no.
We meant you, Ezrick. That was the question.
Hell no.
Yeah, no, that's never happened.
No.
All right, Dave, where can we find you online?
The Snack Network everywhere. I'm Tell You Dave, at Tell You Dave, or at the Snack Net everywhere. That's it.
Kai, where can we find you online?
Shit. You can find me at unsubscribe with a period. Kai is Fly on TikTok. I am the Walrus XD on Snapchat, and Wilhelm Scream for the win on Insta.
Thank you. Ezrick, where can we find you online?
Okay, so on TikTok, it's blind_in_NY, and Instagram, it's new_Yorks_blindest.
God damn.
Jason, where can we find you online?
TikTok, nope, Twitter, Public Access Pod, or TikTok, Public Access Pod. Sorry, you caught me in a message.
As you can find me on...
I'm not going to say what he almost said there. I think it has a lot to do with balls to the face.
Oh, God. And you can find me online at TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at @DBarrett'sHomeBlur. Thank you so much for watching Inspirations Beyond Disability. And until next time, peace.
Till next time,
Boom.
peace.
Yup.
Till next time, peace.
Peace. Peace. We out.
Oh my
We out.
God. I love you bastards.
Oh, God.
I love you bastards.
Oh my god.
Okay, can I make a proposal at one point? We got to get Jazz on here at some point.
Oh, yeah.
We got to get Jazz on here at some point. Because
Definitely.
Can I make a proposal?
Ooh.
Are you guys busy tomorrow? I really want to have you guys on my podcast so bad. I already have so many
Nice.
ideas about it.
Yeah.
Come on.
I started vacation this week, and I'm kind
have
of
dinner
busy.
plans.
I
know
also have
what?
to shoot a bunch of exclusive Cheez-It videos tomorrow, so
I'll do it if it's an entire Whisper episode.
Okay.
Thanks, how you doing? What's up?
Some real ASMR vibes.
Anytime.
What's up?
Kai, I will admit that I don't usually listen to Unsubscribe, but I started listening to the episode that was out recently where you're talking about how you weren't proud of that show.
Oh,
And
right. I don't listen to your show, but when you talk about us, I
I
absolutely listen to it.
You were talking about you were not proud of Unsubscribe, and I just thought
Yeah.
I have not finished or gotten too deep into that episode, but I would like to have a conversation with you about that at a future date. Like, I've made a lot of shows. I've made a lot of shows I'm not proud of.
I gotta do a Cheez-It video, so I'm not sure I'm gonna be able to get back to you.
Okay, no, well,
Right.
the dinner plans are some real things. Like, I'm not like cheesing.
Oh,
you
because
on it. Like, I
Cheez-It
actually have-
videos aren't.
bro. You
I
can
got
pick up the
exclusive-
Cheez-Its another day.
We got
You can pick up the
exclusive
Cheez-Its and the
Cheez-Its.
camera another day. The dinner plans were set ahead of time. Like, the Cheez-Its ain't going anywhere, and neither is your stomach.
Oh, wrecked.
Rip.
I'm sorry, Dan.
Are we still live on
Got
YouTube?
bodied.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Okay.
And to the people in the live chat, seriously, come hang out with me on the Stack Network tonight. It'll be
Oh,
fun.
Jasmine's all set to do it.
I'm sure Jasmine will be there.
Oh,
Jasmine's,
she's gonna ask you about all the balls you've taken.
Sorry, she can't make it now because she's going to be joining Kai and I on Unsubscribe.
Hell yeah.
Hell
See, why
yeah.
can't y'all have my back like Jason?
We're going to take
Come on.
all of the listeners that we're going to go to Dave and we're just going to have
And
them
we're
on
just gonna bring him here.
Unsubscribe.
We're gonna
Mm.
light candles and just whisper.
Oh, you are going to work today, Kai.
Yeah.
Is that an unsubscribe shirt? Hold on. Is that an
It
unsubscribe?
is. It is an
It is.
unsubscribed shirt.
Cool. That is cool.
Thanks.
How do you get said shirt?
You
a
can go
fact.
on Redbubble actually and just look up Kai is Fly, and you'll have my logo. There's also one that says "I'm a professional," and you can put them on T-shirts and hoodies and fucking scarves.
Do you like
Love
the
it.
red bubble quality? I'm curious.
I like it. I'm not super picky. If it's pixelated or something, it's not like I'm gonna fucking notice. So
Right.
I like it. I have a throw pillow with my logo on it. I got
Nice.
t-shirts. So like I love Redbubble.
How did
Is
you
it-
get your logo made? Because I'm thinking about getting a logo made.
So actually, I have a friend. I cannot remember her artist name because I'm a piece of human garbage, but she actually made my logo for me.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
sweet.
Jay, I could help you, but I'd have to just talk to you
Charge you.
because I mean, I'm not going to charge you, but it would cost you because I have commissioned lots of logos for lots of things like that. All the Snack Network art was commissioned.
Okay.
all my little avatar with the Snack Network hat, like I just paid to rehab that hat done. So like, you know.
Yeah, when's the IBD merch coming? Like, what's up?
Yeah, that's a great question.
When we get some consistent branding. Sorry, Dave producer had to step in here for a second.
Oh!
I have an idea for the logo, but I need to make it, and I want to make it myself. So everybody stay tuned. Dave has some fucking free time, but he'll never have that. So, but I have a good idea. I have a good idea for Inspirations Beyond Disabilities artwork and merch.
Don't we already have a logo?
We do, but I think we can do better.
All I'm gonna say is I look forward to it.
Okay,
Sorry,
earlier when you said you're blind but you'll find a way, I wanted so badly to lean into the mic and say, "Don't you mean you'll blind away?" I'm sorry, I can't not laugh at my own jokes.
That's awful. That's god awful. That's not even awful. That's god awful.
It doesn't even make sense.
Good blood. Shut up.
That's god awful.
You'll blind away.
Kai, I will be on subscribe at some point if it's not this week though.
Same.
Okay.
Why don't we actually?
You just caught me at a bad time.
Mm-hmm.
Why you?
Okay.
Okay.
Because I said I'll blind away, isn't it?
Isn't it?
No.
So Kai, is there a difference between MHM and MHMM?
Oh, of course there
Mhm.
is, especially if you are a person of color. Especially if it's MMMMM Oh, you fucked up. Jay, you know.
Mhm.
Jay, you
Never
know.
got one of those.
No, I got one of those. That's the you better get home. You are in a world of trouble. Or I don't believe not a single word you're saying at the moment.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
See, I prefer the
I bet you do.
Those are the ones I get.
I bet you. Oh, shut up.
Nobody needs to know, Jason.
Can I just say I love Jay's laugh when it gets like mad, like deep and like
Right?
raspy.
Listen.
No, I had a friend tell me she used to do that all the time. And I liked it so much. I made my other friends do it by saying it to them all the time. And now when I'm talking to my friends, they'll go, and I'm like, oh, I love that. That's awesome. Thank you.
No, I'm like terrified that one day I'm gonna say it and I'm not even gonna think about it, and Jason's just gonna be somewhere like feeling a disturbance in the force. I don't like that idea.
It's like
I'm not a fan.
K.
So I went out this morning to cut my grass, guys, and it was still too wet to cut it because it's been raining for so long. I have to go do it now, though. But now it's fucking hot and nasty. Who wants to come do it?
No,
I'm good.
Nobody wants to cut your hot, wet, nasty grass.
No one wants to mow your lawn.
Get the fuck out of here. My clavicle hurts.
I almost snorted. Get to work safely.
Thanks.
Jason.
The drops from this episode alone.
I love it.
All right, so
we're just waiting. The link was unshareable on TikTok, so I had to share it with her phone number. So she's working through that right now.
No worries. What was I gonna tell you?
What are we doing? I'm curious.
Nothing. You're leaving. Bye. Have a nice day.
Yeah, for real.
No
Bye,
offense.
Felicia.
Love you though.
Am I actually being kicked out of something?
No, but you're free to leave. How about that?
Okay.
Now, Ezrick wanted to get more of a one-on-one about a topic, TikTok topic. So I don't know.
We're talking about degenerative blindness and whether or not.
Oh, I do remember this conversation.
Yeah.
Because my condition is stable. It's not.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Right.
Really...
Me too. It doesn't involve me either because I got mine later. And there she is. So you're not being kicked out, but you know. There you go.
All right. I'm gonna make like a joint and roll. Bye, guys.
Okay.
All right, guys.
That one.
Take care of that lip. You still look wonderful.
Oh,
I'm stealing that though. I'm stealing that.
What?
got it.
I'm gonna make like a joint and roll.
It was either that or make like a baby and head out. Or
No,
make like
no.
That was bad. Hello.
Hi.
Hey,
Right.
To work.
welcome to the awkward conversation.
We talked about balls in the face. We talked about lots of things.
Oh god.
Oh man. All right.
Oh,
Hey
dear
Jake,
Jesus.
can you do me
Yeah.
a favor and turn your gain down a little?
The sad thing is all the way down.
Wow, really?
Yeah. I'm just gonna
This is
back
always
up.
the case. This is always
Nope,
the case.
nope. Go to your master volume and just turn that down a little.
No, this isn't the iPad. This is actually just the
I know.
Okay, hold
I
on.
know, buddy.
Is
that better?
We gotta get Jay fixed. Somebody's
We
gotta
will.
go to somebody's gotta go to Jay's house and help him.
I gotta
Oh,
get
no
fixed.
problem.
Like what? Wow.
You sound really good right now. You sound like butter right now.
Ooh, yeah.
He
Okay,
sounds
got it.
fine until he goes, ah, yeah.
There's also a setting in the Zoom settings to lower the volume in the audio settings.
Audio settings.
Yeah. But we can do this all another time.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
You guys have fun on this conversation about
Thanks for being here, Dave. You know we love you, right?
no, but
Okay.
thanks for the reminder. I
None
appreciate it.
taken. None taken. Don't take it personal. We love you.
In a platonic brother sort of way, we love you.
Yeah, don't be creepy, Jason. It's fine.
No problem.
Mhm.
Are you guys doing this live or
Yeah. We're just waiting for you to leave.
oh
There's only
if
so
I
much
just sit here?
politeness.
What are you gonna
Okay.
do? No.
I don't know, nothing.
All right. Oh, fine. I'll leave. Bye. Screw you guys. I'm
Bye,
going home.
Felicia.
It won't let me leave.
I know. Sorry about that. Welcome to the show.
I love it.
All right.
Hello.
Right, Ezrick, you got the
So-
lead on this one.
Yeah, it's all you. Welcome to a second hour. That's all I'll say.
So, welcome to a special episode of Inspirations Beyond Disabilities today, where I am joined with one of my favorite co-hosts. And don't everybody get offended, but Jay.
What's going
And
on?
We are here with a special guest, Marie, where we are going to talk about today degenerative blindness and how it affects childhood and whether or not it should be talked about at a young age, whether or not it should be brought up. So first, let's start by introducing ourselves. I'm Ezrick, also known as Blind in NY, and with me I have Jay, also known as the Baritone Blurred. Jay, what's up?
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the special edition.
And I'm also joined by Marie. Marie, how are you?
Good. I'm happy to be here. How are you guys?
Good.
We're all right.
Good.
And as always, we have our lovely producer in the background, Jason. Jason, what's up?
Hey, how you doing? I'm just monitoring the chat. Everybody wants to know who the new pretty lady is.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'm Marie. I am a TikTok creator, and I make blindness related content, and I'm going into my senior year of college soon. So getting ready.
Awesome.
So the main reason we got you on here is I came across your video about whether or not asking people whether or not their parents told them about their degenerative, oh my God, Ezrick words, degenerative eye condition early on, or if they had to find out on their own, or if they're still in the dark about it, pun not intended.
Mhm.
So go ahead.
No, I was going to ask the question is, do you think it's beneficial to talk about like that early on, or?
Well,
Yeah. Sorry, go
say let's start with explaining our personal experiences, and then we can get into like the meat and potatoes of the topic of like whether or not you think it should have been told early on, or whether or not it would have made it worse.
Okay. Where do you want to start?
Well, I'll go first. For me, when I was younger, nobody really told me. They just told me you have this eye condition, your vision is bad. They didn't tell me it was going to get worse. It wasn't until like, I want to say I was in middle school, and there was this other. I went to a school for the blind from like 3rd grade all the way up until like 12th grade, and I'm in this class of like 6 students, and one of the girls in my class just so happened to have the same eye condition that me and Marie have, which is Leber's congenital amaurosis. But the beauty of Leber's is there's so many different variations that you never know if that person's on the same level as you. So that being said, my science teacher, who loved to play favorites, I was the only guy in the class. So she would always, be more friendly with the females in the class, would always, point out to the student, hey, you got to like learn Braille because your vision's eventually going to go. Or, hey, you got to take care of the sight that you have, blah, blah, blah. And nobody was telling me this. And it wasn't until I had my traumatic accident with the Nerf gun that I realized, okay, my retinas are weak. Then when I was 17 and I went to the Dominican Republic, I had met one of my 4 cousins that also have the eye condition, and he is almost completely blind to the point where all he sees now is shadows or shapes. And it made me realize, oh, okay, so this gets worse. This is not, this is not where I'm standing. It gets worse over time. Like, who's going to tell me this?
Right. Right. I think my condition is, so for those of you that don't know, that will see this, my condition is retinitis pigmentosa. I've had mine my entire life. I was diagnosed at 3 years old. And I think from the very jump, as far back as I can remember, I was told, hey, this is going to get worse. My mom and my dad sat down with me and kind of told me, because they didn't know everything, but the parts that they did know, like, this is why you struggle at night. This is why, you can't see certain things when they fall on the floor, see certain things when they're far away. And eventually this will lead to you losing everything. Like, I remember when I was younger, my eye doctor at Will's Eye here in Philadelphia told me that they basically gave me till 25. Like, my condition was supposed to go bye-bye, or my eyesight was supposed to go bye-bye at 25. I'm 36 now, and it hasn't happened fully. But it was supposed to all be gone by 25 years old. My brother has the condition that I do, and him and I both kind of like, we always had that like ticking clock in the back of our minds. Like, at this point or at this age, things are going to start getting worse or just totally go away. So, yeah.
Okay. Marie?
Yeah, so for me, I have LCA just like you, Ezrick. We probably have different forms, it sounds like, based on what you were saying. But yeah, there are many forms of LCA. And as a kid, my vision was very stable. It was always stable. And I knew I had a visual impairment. Like I've always known that. But every time I would go to an eye doctor, they're like, oh, it's stable. It's stable. And no one ever said you're going to lose vision, even though the doctors knew. If you look in my charts, for my form of LCA, they say in the beginning to early, like either beginning of your teen years to late teen years is when most people lose the remainder of their eyesight. So I didn't know that, though. I was like, okay, it's just stable. And I think my parents were in denial about it because I had so much vision compared to other people they would see when we would go to like these conferences, these vision conferences. So they were so in denial that they were like, oh, it's just going to stay stable. Like, it's fine. And so no one told me, but like during school and in times when, I was encouraged to learn Braille or learn to use a cane, I didn't want to because I saw it as pointless. I'm like, well, what's the point of this? Like, I can see this is just very time consuming. This is a waste of time. I was a very stubborn child. Nothing's changed. But they're all, you might, like my TV, I love her, but she was always like, you might need this one day. Like, you might, but she never said I would because she didn't want to be the one to tell me that if no one else would. And interestingly, like, I grudgingly learned it. I did not want to learn it. As I got older, though, like transferring from, let's say, a grade school to a middle school where it was a bigger school, I had to use a cane because of that, but I didn't want to use it. I'm like, I can still see, so no. And I would just not use it, and I would get in trouble and get lectured all the time, but I didn't care. So it was a lot of that because I didn't think I would lose the vision. But as I got closer to like high school because I lost the majority of mine at 14. I started noticing changes in my vision, and my TV, I literally still remember. She said I came in there once and I told her, like, my vision feels weird. Like, I feel like, I don't know, like, I feel like I'm losing vision or something. And she's like, did someone tell you that? Like, who told you that? I'm like, no, like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just having an off day. And then I kind of had to figure it out on my own. Like, when because at one point I did transition to all Braille, and her thing was, you're doing it to be more independent, not because I was going to lose my vision. And so I started doing it. I'm like, oh, it's probably more efficient now because, there's more reading as you get older and my eyes would get so tired. So I was like, oh, I'm just doing this because school's getting a lot. I'd never attributed sight loss, so in that much denial. And so I started using Braille, and that was really hard, and using a cane, but I didn't completely need it. But then I obviously started noticing huge changes. And the one big moment where I noticed it was I itched my better eye, and I couldn't see anything out of the eye that I wasn't touching. And I was like, oh my God, like there was nothing there. It was like a white fog, nothing there. And I was like, what is this? Like, that's how I found out.
Okay, so that actually leads me into like another point of so when I lost my right eye, I lost it to a Nerf gun. I think I've mentioned this a couple of times. It was childish, dumb kid games, and I didn't realize that I was blind in that eye for like a whole month and a half. It wasn't until they did the whole eye test of like covering your eye, tell me what you can see on the board, whatever, right? And they covered my left eye, and they're like, so what do you see? I'm like, I see nothing. I see absolutely nothing. And they freaked out, which, in the process freaked me out, which made everything worse. And obviously now we know what happened. But the point that I'm trying to make is it's funny how, those moments of like, oh crap. You know what I mean? Like, this is real. This is happening.
Yeah.
It's
shock.
Exactly. That's
say it again.
The exact phrase. Shock.
Shock.
Okay.
I think it's shock. And even in the shock though, I was in so much denial. Like, I think even when it did happen, I was like, no way. And I like went inside and covered the better eye and tested it hundreds of times to make sure like I wasn't wrong, because I was in that much denial. And I think my parents were in denial, like, oh, well, we'll go to an eye doctor next month. We have an eye doctor anyway, so they'll confirm it. And I was like, there's nothing to confirm. Like, I literally can't see out of the eye. And I think it went downhill from there. Like, after that eye, the other eye started getting worse. I still have like shadows out of the other eye. Like, I can see shadows. It's not the white fog. But I was saying, Jay, like, I don't know when it's gonna go or how much more I'll lose in the better eye with just shadows. And it is just shadows, but any bit counts,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So let me ask you a question. Do you feel like if it wasn't treated as, oh, it'll stay stable, do you feel like you would have been better or worse prepared for like the losing of sight?
I think that I think I would have been less stubborn, like learning the skills. I think I probably would have been like, yes, teach me this stuff if I knew that it was going to happen. But knowing me, like, I'm a very anxious person. I think it would have given me so much anxiety. I think I would have like spent every day like, oh my gosh, is it going to happen this day? I think it would have drove myself crazy. And I think it would have caused me like depression, I think, like when it happened. Because I think, if you tell a kid this awful thing's going to happen to you one day, I think if this awful thing's going to happen to you, like, it's going to scare the kid. They're going to think about it. And it builds it up to be scary, or not that it isn't scary, but it kind of makes it like worse than it is almost.
That's interesting, because I know for me, like, they told us kind of in advance, and I still did exactly what you did. Like, when it came to like mobility training and needing to use the cane in high school, like they wanted me to use the cane in high school. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm not using this now. Like, I don't need this. I don't want this. They wanted to teach me Braille when I was younger. And I'm like, no, I'm good. Just give me large, bold font and these giant heavy textbooks that will destroy my back, and I'll be fine. Like, forget about all of the rest of this. Like, I was still defiant. And I always looked at it as like, when Ezrick, you were talking about this, the first thing I thought about was, All right, so when like somebody is like going to die, or like somebody has passed away, they talk about the stages of grief. Like in my head, I never thought about it, but in a lot of ways, it kind of mirrors the stages of grief.
Yeah.
Like you go through denial, and then you like this isn't going to happen to me. Like I don't need all of this training. I don't want all of it. Like I'm not going to be that kid carrying that thing all around. And then you go through like bargaining, where it's like you start to lose it a little bit, and you're going, well, you know, if I could just hold on to this for a little while longer, and you ultimately get to like acceptance. But like that whole process, I felt like for me, when they told me like it was going to happen, I started to go through that. I went through denial a lot longer, like completely, maybe way longer than I should have. But like, I still went through it. So that's interesting to me. Like, that's interesting.
No, I think that is interesting, because that's a good point. Like maybe I would have still been that defiant person, like, oh, it's not happening now, so I don't have to worry. Or like, and I think we all go through the stages of grief. That's so interesting, because I was thinking about that a couple weeks ago. Like it's true. Like denial, and I mean, I went through it probably after, like when I finally, because I think I was in denial for like a long time. But like my stages of grief happened like maybe way after, like I started realizing the sight loss, but it still happened. So it's interesting.
So I just wanted to interject. I remember when we were talking about the whole, you know, I would have actually listened to those instructions of like, you know, learning to use the cane, learning Braille. For me, learning to use the cane, I started when I was 8, you know, and I was like, all right, fine. You know, this is going to make my life easier. Let's go. Right. But Braille, nobody started teaching it to me till after the accident with my right eye. And it was like, oh, well, we're teaching it to you now because you saw how a little Nerf gun can mess up your eye. Gotta imagine you falling and hitting your head a certain way, or you getting shot again, or you getting punched in the face hard enough. So let's try to teach you Braille, which I didn't successfully do. I still don't learn. I still don't know Braille fully to this day. But I think if they would have, you know, told me ahead of time, maybe when I was like in preschool, or maybe when I was in like elementary, listen, your vision might get bad over time. We don't know yet, you know, fingers crossed it doesn't, but it might. But in the case that it does, let's learn Braille. You know what I mean? Let's learn this cool, like, you know what I mean? Make it fun, and also make it so that I know that there's an actual purpose, not, you know, hey, this just happened, so this might happen again. You know what I mean?
Right. Like I think downplaying it is kind of where like downplaying it isn't always helpful.
Yeah. Not at all.
You know, you never know. Like, yeah, you never know, but you could get in a car accident tomorrow. You never know. Like,
right.
You know?
And then that goes back to the whole anxiety and depression thing that you brought up. And it reminds me, like, before this pandemic, I was in the process of, I successfully did it, trying to get Luxturna. And that's because with Luxturna, it hopefully, you know, either stops the deterioration process, or it slows it down or retards it. And I'm hoping that, you know, it at least stops it, or, you know, slows it down. I know I've seen a little bit of vision changes, like nighttime is a smidge, a little bit brighter, but that's about it.
I'm sorry to interrupt. What form of LCA do you have? Because like my form, they said it doesn't work with Luxturna. Like I went to like eye appointments. What form do you have?
I have RPE 65.
That's the one they were saying works with Luxturna. Okay.
So
I have
I'm sorry.
Oh, no,
can you guys
good.
explain what that is? Because I'm not familiar with that.
Okay, it just with Leber's congenital amaurosis, there's like at least, I want to say 15. Don't quote me. 15 different variations. I know there's mine, which is RPE 65. There's RDH 12, which Marie has. There's CBR1, which I think Nessa has. There's a few other ones I can't remember off the top of my head, but those are a few of the more popular ones that I can think of.
Okay.
It's weird, like, and there's like rare forms. Mine, they said, was like the rarest form of LCA. So it's like, it's weird because it's the same condition, but there's different forms, and that affects how much you can see or can't see.
That affects when the blindness sets in, where it sets in.
Yeah.
Because I have had a math teacher that he has it, and he was born damn near completely blind, and like it just went like completely worse as he got older. Like,
so let me ask this question: if say you could start over again, ask this question to both of you. If you could start over again, right? You're diagnosed, and you're told early on, what would you like to have them do for you to make that transition easier?
Okay. One, I think for me would have been, yes, like we said, knowing, firsthand the truth. And two, getting the tools, let's learn Braille. Let's take you on mobility lessons. Everything that you thought, you took for granted when you didn't think you needed it. Let's bring it in. Let's bring it in now, and let's tell you why you need it. Glasses. For me, in my instance, glasses. Let's make you realize, yes, they may not be doing much to help your vision, but believe me, 100%, they are protecting your vision. You know what I mean? Like, show me videos of people getting, I don't know, darts in the eyes, and then showing me how the glasses would have stopped the fucking dart. I don't know, but just certain things that are a little bit more less hindsight, and now more let's bring it into the first hand, and let's point out the obvious that should have been pointed out.
Maria, is there anything that you think that you would, knowing back then, like, is there anything that you would have wanted or thought you would have needed to make that transition easier that you didn't have that you wish existed?
Yeah, I think just realizing, I wish people realized the emotional toll that it takes on people, instead of I guess instead of seeing them as just like a defiant kid who's stubborn and doesn't want to do this,
right,
or just talking to them, and like, just not like, okay, I don't mean like telling them, oh, this is awful, this is the worst thing, like, we don't want to pity kids, because like, but I think also not always playing devil's advocate and saying like, you're overreacting, you're this, and just realizing the emotional toll that it takes on someone, and just there for them and feeling it with them and helping them in those ways, and also introducing them to people who have lived it. Because I know for me, like, later on, I met some people who were older than me who were blind, and that helped so much. Just, I looked up to them so much, and I still have people I look up to so much, like older people that, like Jay, I look up to you a lot. Like, I think you're amazing as like older than me, and Jason, and just like people in my everyday life, like seeing adults who are thriving and getting to talk to them and realizing like, this is going to be okay. And I'm happy that I get to do that for like little kids now, or younger people younger than me.
Yeah. I completely agree with you on the having people. I think for me, it would have been a little bit of both. Like, show me people who have conditions. It doesn't even have to be mine. Just show me someone who has the condition, who has managed to succeed in life. Like, show me somebody who's like a professional that's like dealing with a condition. Show me somebody who is like, because a lot of times it kind of goes into, and it's not said, but it almost feels like it's expressed. Like, you have this condition now. Here's your corner. Here's your cane. Here's your chair. Here's your check. Enjoy your sad little existence, right? Like, that's how you're treated, right? But if you start to see like, oh, you have this condition, but here's like a lawyer that does it. Like, here's not a doctor, because that'd be interesting, but like, here's a teacher that does it. Like, here's these professionals that did it, right? But then also give me like, being on TikTok has helped me feel more normal as a person, I think, with my condition than I've ever felt in my entire life. Because not only is it like people who have your exact condition, but it's everybody who's going to go through exactly what you've gone through in one form or another, whether it's ableism, whether it's dumb things you've done, whether it's dumb things people have said to you. Like, if you show me people who've done it, but then you also like help me have like a community of people that have like I'm going through this right now with you. I think it would have made that transition a lot easier, especially when you have that day where you start to lose vision and you could actually like talk and vent to somebody about you like losing that vision, somebody who understands what you're going through. I think that would have made it a lot easier for me.
Oh my God, yes. Like my best friend, I met her at we went to guide dog school together, and she's my best friend. We don't live in the same state, but we met there, and she's my best friend. We talk almost every day. Like she understands me on every level, and I understand her on every. You need that. Like I feel like I need that. We all need someone to just completely understand you and feel you.
Yeah, because I think we've all had the experience of like trying to explain our condition to someone who doesn't have it, and they're trying, like, God bless them, they're trying to get it, but like sometimes it almost seems like you're speaking a completely foreign language to them, and you're just trying to translate for them and still explain to them like what's going on at the same time. Like you need them to feel the emotion of what you're going through, but at the same time you need someone who will understand that emotion, and that's difficult. So I think having somebody be there for you that like gets it, like especially if you can call somebody up and just be like, it's one of those days, and and they like automatically know what's going on. Like that would be a huge help, just like starting out. That's why I think like I went to a school for the blind and visually impaired from like 4th grade on, like 4th grade to 8th grade at least. And it was really helpful sometimes to have that, but when you go to like high school and like nobody gets that, that could be a nightmare.
Yeah, like I never went to a school for the blind, and so I think that's interesting. Like I think it definitely has its perks because you're with a group of people who just get you, like teachers, students, everyone. I've always gone to a public school where I was literally always the only blind kid there. And so I think just getting used to like explaining myself, but it gets exhausting. Like every year you have to explain yourself. How big it is proving yourself to people that I'm not this helpless person. Like I'm a normal whole human being and I'm capable, and just proving that gets exhausting.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Have you had to develop a script for yourself?
Yes. I do the same document. So I have every year, like this, I copy paste every year. Paste.
Yeah. I have the same thing in graduate school. I have a template on my computer of just like, it's a letter I have to send out to every professor at the start of like the term. And it's just like, it's this one like, hi, this is what's going on with me. And then you basically have to like make a little bit larger font. I did this on purpose. Like I made the second part of this, like, although I have this condition, I am still able to do I have this whole script like built out in my computer. It's crazy.
I love that. Yep. Yep.
Sorry, Ezrick. Ezrick?
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm sorry.
Oh.
I guess I was muted by accident. My bad. But no, I totally agree with you guys. Like when I was in college, I'm kind of taking a little hiatus, or I'll leave that alone.
Yeah.
But when I was in college, I do remember going through that whole method of either having to send them the email or sit down and like have a whole conversation of this is what works for me, this is what doesn't, and this is why. And
yeah.
But
oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, and like explaining to them too, like the level of blindness. Like I have no usable vision.
Yeah.
So but when I could see better, like when I had better vision in like middle school, grade school, being like, no, like blindness is a spectrum. Like I could still see in middle school and grade school, but now it's like almost easier because I'm just like, oh, I see nothing because I don't like no usable vision.
So for a quick second, because this is what scares the heck out of me about being blind is school. I'm kind of curious as to what details, how do you go about letting them know you need accessibility? And then you were saying like you have to prove to people that you don't need help, but at the same time, don't you have to let people help you when you need it? Because you still need help. You're not perfect at everything, right? So how do you balance between being a proud, independent person, but yet still letting them know you're going to need help from time to time.
I was going to actually pitch this to you as a show, Jason.
Oh, there you go.
I was going to pitch you. So I don't, Maria, I'm not sure how your school does it. I know my school, there's a disability office where they give you a letter, and that letter is based on what's been requested or recommended by your eye doctor or whatever about your condition. So it's a letter, an official letter, basically saying this person needs untimed testing, this person needs electronic, not like hardback books, but like e-published books. And you just attach that to whatever email you're like sending to your professor, because that is just basically like a list of accommodations. But in general, you have to kind of like introduce yourself, tell them what class you're in, tell them about your condition, kind of how it like impacts your ability to see, and then anything else that you want to let them know. So for me, there's like that whole first paragraph is just kind of like explaining who I am and my condition. And then there's like 2 paragraphs after that for me of like explaining like, you know, this is what I am capable of doing. I am able to keep up. I although I have this condition, I intend on participating and achieving at the highest levels, and so forth and so on. And for the most part, I know in my experience, at least with graduate school, a lot of professors have been like, okay, cool. You know, they haven't like looked down on me. I did have 1 or 2 that kind of treated me kind of like trash, but like other than that, for a large part, my professors have been okay with like explaining like this is where I need help. And for them, it's as simple as like setting a setting, I guess, under my student profile so that like my tests are untimed and stuff like that. But like that's the benefit of going to like school online, I guess.
Yeah, no, I've had very similar situations. I think I'm very open about what I need, and I will tell them exactly what I need. Like this, I am able to do this, this, and this. I'm not able to access this website or that website, like inaccessibility. I need you to email me this, or you know, I do this way. Like just telling them my abilities, what I'm able to do, and then where I'm going to need help is like the most important thing. And most of my professors have been so accommodating, so nice, and open to like learning. Obviously, there's like always a couple that are, you know,
there's always those.
Yep. But I've been lucky. I've had really good professors who are so accommodating, and disability services too. We have that on campus, and that's a huge help. You know, converting the stuff and helping when, you know, there's a stubborn professor that won't do it, making them say, hey, ADA, this is, you know, you have to help. You have to make sure that, you know, we have it accessible.
I'm sure you're wonderful about like making your accommodations known, especially having a fight with, you know, fight for your justice with reason.
Yeah. We definitely, I think all of us, you know, our advocacy skills are so good after a while. They get really good after you have to continuously educate and advocate.
Definitely.
So let me ask you guys this. Put yourself in because try to circle back to the original. Learning, knowing or not knowing. If you are a parent, you have a child that has your exact condition, or maybe even a different condition, but like ultimately has the same endpoint. Would you tell your child? Would you tell your child about it, or would you rather them kind of find out on their own?
I don't think, I wouldn't not tell them at all. Like I wouldn't just keep it a secret, but I do not think that I would like tell them right away, like, oh yeah, in like 10 years, like let's say they say they're going to lose it like I did, like when I was 14, I wouldn't tell them way ahead of time, because I feel like that's unnecessary, like, I don't know, like stress on a kid. I don't know. That's just me. I'd probably tell them like as they start like noticing things, or like, yeah, or as they start having to like learn it, maybe I'd start giving more information and just being like, you are going to lose your vision. That's so hard though.
That is a hard one to push. I
think for me, I would, you know, tell them out from the jump, like, listen, you know, this is what it is. but you might lose it. But I have faith, faith in you because you're strong. You're my child, and you're a fighter. So I know for a fact this may happen, but if it does, one, you're going to be strong enough to go through it because I'm going to help you get strong enough. And two, it might not come. You know why? Because you're one of mine. You're strong enough to get through it, to not even have to deal with it if it comes. You know what I mean? Give them a little not a false sense of hope, but like that little bit of like faith that, you might not have to go through it, but like, listen, if you are, not only am I here as a parent, but because I've been here all this time to help you, prepare you for this, I know that you're strong enough to deal with it, even if I wasn't here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Jay, you are a parent. So I'm curious, you actually are a parent. Like you would, what are your thoughts?
I would tell them. I would honestly tell them, but I would tell them in the sense like, okay, this is what's projected to happen and I would tell them about my experience of like, I was quoted an age and I said age now. So like, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen. Like the end result of the condition is projected to lose everything, but you have no idea how long that's going to be. You could have it your entire, there are versions of RP where you don't lose your vision until you're like 80 years old. So like, I don't want to tell them like, you're going to lose it, when you turn an adult. I just be like, you're going to lose it. Like you're projected to lose it. We don't know when, but you're projected to lose it. So while you have it, enjoy your childhood, enjoy your adulthood, enjoy every second you got with it. Because from experience, I know that when certain things change, you're going to miss not having taken certain opportunities. Like me, I missed the opportunity to play football when I could. Like I wish I would have taken that opportunity, but I didn't. So like I would want my kids to be like, okay, my two daughters, if they're into gymnastics, you may lose it one day, but while you have it, let's do gymnastics. Let's enjoy gymnastics. Now, maybe they can adapt it to where you can still do it later on. But if they can't, have the experience now that you at least have those experiences. You understand what I'm saying? Like, don't give them like the definite doomsday. Even if the doctor provides like a doomsday, like, hey, at 30, you're going to lose it. Don't give them that. But at least tell them like you have the ability. You have the not the ability, but like it has the potential to be all gone down the line.
Right.
It's funny that you met. So I'm sorry to cut you off, Marie. Oh. I was just gonna say it's funny that you mentioned the ultimate doomsday because nobody really gave me the ultimate doomsday until recently. For me, like as I started talking to other people that have gotten the surgery that I was getting, to like see what it's like. And one person was like, yeah, my vision started getting like really, really significantly worse at the age of 25. Mind you, at this time, I'm 23. Turning 24, and I'm fighting to get the surgery to happen because at any point in time it could get worse to the point where I don't see anymore. So I'm I'm fighting with the clock, and I'm also fighting with the anxiety of like I could wake up tomorrow and it's gone.
Yeah.
So it just made me think about that. But Marie, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say like Jay, I think telling them like it's good because you can say like enjoy this while you can, because like my parents did everything they could to like I was in like so many sports and so many activities and we went to like, but I think knowing like if I was gonna visit, maybe I would have like taken a beach sunset in more or like appreciate things that you could see more, even though I was exposed to all of that and I did so many sports and I was exposed to all the visual things. I think just knowing like, oh, one day you might not see those anymore, maybe I would have like I don't did it more
enjoyed or made more visual memories to enjoy when like the darkness sets in. To not, I know that sounds so morbid, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I liked Marie's suggestion of being surrounded by similar people. If I knew that I could genetically pass down blindness to my children, I would start surrounding my children with people with disabilities at an early age. I mean, I went blind at 27. It's a degenerative condition that started at 27, but my mom was an amputee. And so I learned early on that differences weren't as much of a difference as it was easier for me to adapt to my blindness not being around other disabled people. So I really like that. You don't have to full on tell them, but you can introduce them to somebody that has the condition, a senior or something, and let them get to know those people. So there's a middle ground there. You don't have to be so blunt, and you don't have to be so passive. And there's a way to introduce that to a child. I think is an amazing solution that we addressed here today. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry, not to end the conversation. You still have plenty of time.
How much time do we have?
I remember waking up and there was like a moon crest pattern in my eye. And then I went to the doctor and they're like, your retina's detached. And like, it's been that way ever since. And so now when I sleep on a pillow, because I only have one eye, I don't want to put my good eye on the pillow. So I literally move the pillow in a way, and I wear safety glasses all the time now. And I'm super worried about just the detached retina because it happened to one eye. It could happen to another.
You want me to mail you my eye shield that they gave me from my surgery?
I
could clean it. I could clean it. Send you some tape, some gauze.
But I know what it's like to live in fear of a degeneration, because even the macular degeneration is getting worse.
Yeah.
It's a scary
I'm
thing.
actually glad you were here because even you go through phases of vision loss as well.
Yeah.
It's definitely something that still happens, even though yours was onset at a later age,
Right.
it's still, it's still a thing that daunts on you. Like, I know every time I go through a bout of vision loss, I'm like, oh, this is, can only get worse from here now.
Right. And then I have diabetes. So if I have high blood sugar levels, then I start to get bad vision because of that. And so it's really awkward, lighting and daytime and blood sugar levels and macular degeneration. And you go outside and sometimes you're all right. And other times it's like, I can't do that. So, but I appreciate you all for being inspirations. I like that. Now I want to get some kids in that are losing their vision so that we can be inspirations that way, You gave me a great idea there, Marie. Thanks.
I know. Girl, I don't want to, share too much of her story, but she lost all her vision a couple years ago. She's like amazing.
Who is it?
Well, her name's Addie, and she's awesome. Her mom was actually my art teacher in grade school, and we reconnected over, sight loss. So yeah, she inspired literally so much. She's like the strongest person I know.
Oh, I'm sitting here thinking about some of the things that we talked about earlier, and one of the things that's a benefit in my profession is if you discover something that's like a population, you should start working with it. And I never thought about like children dealing with sight loss, or even adults who are dealing with sight loss, being a mental health issue, like the mental health aspects that go along with it. But I'm thinking like maybe that should be a population I should look into working with, because like who else would understand that besides somebody who's been through that kind of like sight loss? And like finding a way to like create a resource, like a support resource for people who are in the process of like losing, or like first discover that they're losing their sight.
Okay, it's funny that you said this, because you just blew my mind, right? Me going to a school that's complete, that was for the blind and visually impaired, right? I had a guidance counselor that I would see once a week, or not a guidance counselor, but like whatever. It was a school counselor that I would talk to about my problems once a week, right? It's funny how you're saying this, and I'm thinking in my head, like, she was a great person. Don't get me wrong. I shout out to Miss Kim, love her to death. But how much better would it have been to have somebody who's understanding of your situation be your counselor? You know what I mean? Like for me to sit down and have, I don't know, a younger me have someone like Jay sit down and talk to me about me just losing my eye to a Nerf gun, I think would be so much more helpful and would have helped me gone through the grieving process a lot better than the way I did.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, maybe shout out to the New York Institute. Maybe they need a counselor like Jay. Maybe OSB needs a school counselor like Jay.
Or maybe they need a counselor like you.
Like Jay.
No. I'm sorry. Psychology is not my thing. I'm gonna leave that up to you professionals.
I was just thinking, like, even like it doesn't even have to be like you're thinking of it of like having to be a professional, right? Think about like a blind life coach.
Yeah.
Right? Like somebody who has been through it, who is a stable adult. Let's just say that, like a stable adult, right? Just being like, hey, like I know you're going through this, but let me show you a few things, or let me teach you a few things that, you know, either school can't talk to you about, or like, you know, the people who work with you can't talk to you about because they don't really know or understand. Imagine having that just like from a young age. How different do you think your because like, all right, so think about it like this from the connect this episode and last episode with the concept of trying things because someone told you couldn't. Think about if how much different your life would have been had you had like a blind or a visually impaired like life coach talk to you about like, hey, these are things you like, they say you can't do it, but in some instances you may not want to try this because of X, Y, or Z. Like how much different do you think your life would have been?
You can if you do it this way.
Yes, or possibly even modifying. How much different would your life have been?
Right.
Or he can do it, I can do it. You know,
right.
Look at them. Why can't I do it if this person can do it?
Right. Do you think that would have made? Do you think that would have made parents more comfortable with some of the life choices you've made? Like, especially when like your parent is like terrified for you to do anything. Do you think it would have made them more comfortable to see an adult that has your condition do it?
Definitely.
Like moving out on your own, or like not driving a car, because if you see somebody who's totally blind driving a car, you probably shouldn't model that.
I'm jealous. They have an autonomous car and I want one.
Yeah.
That or they have enough vision to drive with bioptics.
I think BMW should give us all BMWs and have us meet in a point in America to do a show. You know what I mean?
You understand the level of car wrecks that would occur with if it's a BMW bumper car, I'm for it. But if it's like a regular like BMW, the amount of car damage and injuries would be out. I'm not going to that meeting. But
I'm sorry. I know this is off topic, but this just gave me the idea. We need to get somebody who uses bioptics to drive. Like that, I feel like that's a topic we need to get on.
Wow, I like that.
But like,
just saying.
Think about you as a parent, right? You as a parent, you don't have your condition, but you know your child does, right? So if your child's talking about, hey, I'm ready to move out on my own. Hey, I'm ready to move to a different city. Hey, I'm ready to go to school. I'm ready to play the sport. And you see like somebody else as an adult do it. Wouldn't you think that would make you feel more comfortable for letting your child actually do that thing?
You know what? Yes. Yep.
So that's why I'm thinking like, you may not be in the professional realm, like, you know, degreed up or whatever, but I think like a blind or visually impaired life coach, I think that should really be a thing.
And I'm sitting. That'd be cool. Like, I think that's so valuable. Like, there's vision rehab therapists, and I'm pretty sure that's what I'm doing, like for my master's degree. But a life coach, you know, like you're teaching them physically how to be independent. And yes, there is a big mental aspect to it. Like, you are talking to them because for a lot of them, like they did just lose their vision. You are talking to their families, but like a life coach, like that sounds like awesome. It's kind of like a mentor program.
Yes.
Yes, like a mentor program. I like that. And I like the idea of just being surrounded by people that are just dealing with things on a daily basis. You know what I mean? Because you would be amazed how a group of disabled people just help each other in ways you couldn't even imagine. You know, one person can do one thing, so that's their goal every day, you know? And so just being a child, even a child that without a disability, I think it's an important thing that they be surrounded by people with disabilities, because like I always say, this conversation only started like this, like millennia, this century, right? Like in 1990s, 1980s, we weren't talked about. 1970s, we were locked away. 1960s, we were tested and picked on. So this is really new. Like, you three are the generation that gets to be the vanguard of conversation about blindness. And that's what's cool. Nobody's really done it before you, you know?
It sucks because that was never talked about. Like, oh,
right.
People with disabilities were locked up. No one wants to talk about that. That's not this awful thing. No one says, oh, that was awful. Look at what they went through back then. Like, no one wants to talk about that. You don't hear about that unless you do extensive research.
But that's most of, and not trying to go too far off, that's most of American history. The awful things are pretty much not talked about. And we just, unless you do your extensive research, you don't know that those things happen. And that's kind of tragic.
They want you to forget about it.
Pretty much. But yeah. I'm sitting here really thinking about this.
But in a few seconds I'm gonna have to like depart. So if
that's all right,
I leave, just letting you guys know. But
we're down to 4 minutes, so if you want to wrap it up,
you could just go ahead and close.
All right then, beautiful. Sorry I put on my shirts because I was stepping on my apartment. But I'm gonna be more formal as I say this. But
you want me to close it?
Yes, please, because I'm a little like my hands are full.
Gotcha. So that's going to conclude this special episode of Inspirations Beyond Disability. We'd like to thank all of our hosts and our special guest, Marie, for being here and having this conversation. So, Marie, can you tell the people where they can find you online?
Yeah, so find me at Marie Zaknoon 0 on TikTok. Last name Zaknoun. I'm boring. I just have Facebook and TikTok, so no Instagram, none of that. So.
Cool. I'm boring too because I have that stuff and barely use it. Ezrick, where can people find you online?
TikTok is blind_in_ny and Instagram is new_Yorks_blindest.
Awesome. Our producer and the chief of this all, Jason, where can people find you online?
Thank you for the second chance. You can find me on Twitter at Public Access Pod, in TikTok at Public Access Pod, and Instagram at Public Access America.
And you can find me on TikTok, Instagram at The Baritone Blurred, and Twitter at Baritone Blurred. I don't really tweet all that often, but I'm there. So thank you guys for joining us and joining the conversation. We always appreciate having you here. We appreciate you being a part of this conversation. And until next time, be inspired. Have a good one, guys.